My girlfriend said, "I need space, let's just be friends." I replied, "Sure." Then I removed her name from joint subscriptions, reclaimed her car keys, and changed our Netflix password. 72 hours later, she was knocking desperately on my door. I, 32 male, am sitting in a quiet apartment for the first time in 4 years. It's strange. Not bad, just quiet. 2 nights ago, my girlfriend of 4 years, Alara, 29, sat me down on the sofa we picked out together. She had that look on her face, the one that's both serious and distant. My stomach dropped. "I think we need to talk," she started. Cliché, I know. She went on for about 10 minutes, talking about her personal growth, feeling stifled and needing to find herself again. It was a well-rehearsed speech, full of therapy speak and vague platitudes. The bottom line was delivered with a soft, almost pitying smile. "I think we should just be friends. I need some space." I've seen this movie before. I've read the Ada posts. The classic move here is to get emotional, to plead, to ask what I did wrong. I felt the sting, don't get me wrong. It felt like a punch to the gut. But looking at her, seeing the rehearsed sincerity, something in me just clicked into place. This wasn't a negotiation, it was a declaration. So I didn't cry, I didn't raise my voice, I just nodded slowly and said, "Okay, if that's what you want." She seemed taken aback. "Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're being so mature about this." She said she'd stay at her friend Chloe's place for a few days to give us both some breathing room. She packed an overnight bag, gave me a quick, awkward hug, and left. The moment the door clicked shut, I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. The hurt was there, a dull ache in my chest, but underneath it was a strange sense of clarity. Friends. She wanted to be friends. Okay, so I decided to treat the situation with the exact logistical reality she had proposed. We were friends now, not partners. Our lives, therefore, needed to be decoupled. I'm a methodical person. I like lists. I opened my laptop and made one. Shared subscriptions. I went through my credit card statements. The big ones were easy: Netflix, Spotify Family Plan, the meal kit delivery service we both loved. I have the master accounts for all of them. I changed the passwords. Then I went into the Spotify plan and removed her account. For the meal kit, I simply canceled the subscription. It was due to renew tomorrow anyway. Cost saved, roughly $110 a month. The car, this was the big one. About 2 years ago, Alara's old car died. I'd just gotten a promotion, so I bought a new reliable sedan. The car is entirely in my name. The title, the loan, the insurance, all me. She was the primary driver since I work from home and barely use it. It was, for all intents and purposes, her car in practice, but my car on paper. A friend does not drive a car that I am legally and financially responsible for. The insurance liability alone is a nightmare. I sent her a text. Not angry, just factual. Hey, since we're taking space and figuring things out as friends, I'm gonna need the car back. The insurance is a bit complicated if a non-resident is the main driver. Let me know when is a good time for me to get the keys. I can come to you. Apartment. We live in my apartment. My name is the only one on the lease. She moved in 2 years ago. There's no legal entanglement there, which is a relief. I didn't change the locks yet. I figured I'd give her a chance to get her things like a normal person. I did all of this calmly over the course of about an hour. It wasn't about revenge, it was about boundaries. It was about accepting the new reality she had created for us. If we are just friends, then this is what being just friends looks like. The text about the car was sent about 48 hours ago. She read it, no reply. The meal kit service sent her an email saying the account was canceled. She would have discovered the Netflix and Spotify passwords didn't work the first time she tried. It's been radio silence. Until now, there's a knock at the door. Not a normal knock. It's fast and sharp, insistent. I know it's her. And based on the sound of it, she's not here to be my friend. Update 1. Thank you for all the comments and DMs. It's wild how many people have been through something similar. It helps to know I'm not crazy for reacting the way I did. So, the knocking. I took a deep breath, walked to the door, and looked through the peephole. Yep, Alara. She looked frazzled. Her hair was messy and her face was pinched with irritation. I opened the door. "What the hell is your problem?" she started. Not even a hello. I leaned against the doorframe. "I'm not sure what you mean, Alara. My Spotify logged me out mid-song. Netflix won't work, and you're demanding the car back?" What are you doing? I kept my voice even. I'm doing what you asked. You said you wanted space, that you wanted to be friends. Friends don't share streaming accounts or pay for each other's cars. I'm just tidying things up. She stared at me, her mouth slightly open, as if I'd just started speaking a different language. Tidying things up? I said I needed space, not that you should blow up our entire life. I needed that car for work tomorrow. I understand it's inconvenient, I said, and I genuinely did. But the car is my property and my liability. I can't have someone who doesn't live here be its primary driver. It's an insurance thing. You can get your stuff from the apartment whenever you'd like. Just give me a heads up so I can be here. This is where the entitlement really came out. My stuff? We live here, and that's my car. You bought it for me. I bought it while we were in a committed relationship, I corrected her gently. That relationship is now over, according to you. We're friends. This is me, treating you like a friend. She threw her hands up in the air. This is ridiculous. This isn't how you treat a friend. This is petty and vindictive. My God, Leo was right about you. Bingo, the name hung in the air. Leo, her work friend. The one she'd been having after-work drinks with a little too often for the past 2 months. The one whose name popped up on her phone at all hours. My gut had been screaming about Leo for weeks, but I'd pushed it down. I'd trusted her. I must have let a flicker of something show on my face because she immediately tried to backtrack. That's not what I meant. Who's Leo, Alara? I asked, my voice still quiet. He's just a friend from work. He's been so supportive through all of this. All of what? Your decision to end our 4-year relationship? You're twisting my words, she snapped. I just needed a break, a little space, and you go and do all this? You're trying to control me, just like he said you would. So that was it. This new guy, Leo, had been in her ear, painting me as a controlling villain, probably so he could swoop in. And Alara, wanting the thrill of a new romance without giving up the comfort and stability I provided, had concocted this let's be friends plan. She thought she could put me on a shelf, keep using my car, my apartment, my money, while she test drove a new relationship. The sheer audacity of it was breathtaking. I held out my hand. The car keys, Alara. She looked from my hand to my face, her eyes filled with disbelief and rage. She actually scoffed. No, I need it. I'll ask you one more time nicely. Please give me the keys to my car. She crossed her arms. And what are you going to do if I don't? Call the cops. That would be a great look for you. I didn't even blink. Okay. I pulled out my phone. I didn't dial 911. I opened my car's official app on my phone. I located the car. It was parked right down the street. And with 3 taps, I remotely locked the doors and activated the alarm. The car's horn started blaring, a piercing, relentless sound in the quiet evening. Her eyes went wide. People on the street turned to look. What did you do? She shrieked. The car is now locked and the alarm is on. It will continue until I turn it off. The next thing I can do is report it stolen. It's in my name, remember? They'll find you with it, and that will be a very awkward conversation for you to have. So, for the last time, the keys. She stared at me, her chest heaving. The car alarm was still wailing down the street. Defeated and utterly humiliated, she dug into her purse, her movements jerky and angry. She slammed the keys into my palm. I tapped my phone and the alarm stopped. The sudden silence was deafening. Now, I said, my voice cold, you need to get your things. You have 48 hours to schedule a time with me. After that, I'm changing the locks. She just stared at me with pure hatred. Without another word, she turned and stormed off down the sidewalk. I watched her go, then closed the door. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline. This wasn't just a breakup anymore. This was something else entirely. And I had a feeling it was far from over. Update 2. The last week has been a masterclass in escalating entitlement and delusion. I feel like I'm a character in a movie I never auditioned for. The 48-hour deadline came and went. Alara didn't call, didn't text, just silence. So as promised, I called a locksmith and had the locks on my apartment changed. It cost me $250, but the peace of mind was priceless. I also installed a small, discreet security camera in my living room, pointing at the front door. A little voice told me it would be a good investment. That little voice was right. The day after I changed the locks, the first dirty trick happened. I got a call from my credit card company's fraud department. Apparently, someone had tried to report my card as stolen. They went through the automated system, but because some security questions were answered incorrectly, it was flagged for review. I confirmed the card was in my possession, and they added extra security notes to my account. Trick number 2 was far more serious and happened 2 days later. I got a calendar invite for a mandatory meeting from HR. The subject was just follow-up conversation. My boss, Mark, and a woman from HR, named Susan, were on the invite. My stomach twisted into a knot. I walked into the small conference room and they were both there, looking serious. This wasn't going to be a casual chat. Susan started, her voice neutral and professional. "Thanks for coming in. We've received an anonymous communication that contains some serious allegations regarding your conduct outside of work. Under company policy, we are obligated to make you aware of it and discuss it." She turned her laptop around. It was an email from a burner account sent to her and Mark. It painted me as unstable, controlling, and prone to aggressive outbursts, and claimed I was harassing my former partner. It was clearly designed to make me look like a workplace liability. My blood ran cold, but I forced myself to remain calm. I read it, took a breath, and looked at them. "Susan, Mark, this is deeply mortifying," I began. "My girlfriend and I broke up last week. It has not been amicable. This email is a malicious and false retaliation from her because I took back my car and canceled shared subscriptions after she ended things. The person described in that email is not me." Mark, who had been quiet, leaned forward. "Susan, I've managed this man for 4 years. He's one of my most level-headed team members. We've had stressful deadlines and difficult clients, and I have never seen anything but professionalism from him. This email is the complete opposite of the employee I know." Susan nodded, listening. She looked back at me. "Do you believe this will escalate further? Is there any risk of this spilling into the workplace?" "No," I said firmly. "I have taken steps to secure my home and finances. I believe this was an act of desperation on her part. It will not happen again, and it will certainly not affect my work." Susan closed the laptop. "Okay, we are documenting this incident and your response. Given your work history and Mark's testimony, we are considering this a malicious personal matter. We see no reason for further action at this time, but we wanted to be transparent. The Employee Assistance Program is available if you need support." I left that meeting feeling rattled, but relieved. She had tried to attack my livelihood. This wasn't a game anymore. That night, my new camera paid for itself. At around 11 p.m., I got a motion alert on my phone. I opened the live feed and watched, my heart pounding, as the doorknob to my apartment slowly turned. Someone was trying to use a key. It jiggled, then stopped. Then, a few seconds later, it tried again. It was Alara. When the key didn't work, she just stood there for a full minute, staring at the door before leaving. I saved the footage. This was the final straw. She had tried to mess with my job. She tried to enter my home. This was no longer about being the bigger person. This was about self-preservation. I needed something decisive, something that would sever the last tie and expose the truth in a way she couldn't twist. And then I remembered her parents. Alara's parents, David and Karen, are good people. Old school, practical, no-nonsense types. They always liked me. When I bought the car, they had generously given us, as a couple, $5,000 towards the down payment. It was a gift given under the pretense of supporting our future together. I hesitated. This felt like crossing a line, but she had crossed so many more. I composed a text to her father, David. Me, "Hi David, hope you and Karen are well. I'm writing because, as you may or may not know, Alara and I have ended our relationship. I'm making arrangements to sell the sedan, and I wanted to make sure I returned the $5,000 you both so generously contributed to it. It doesn't feel right for me to keep it under the circumstances. What's the best way to get that money back to you?" I hit send. My phone lit up less than 5 minutes later. "David, what are you talking about? Alara told us you two were just having a small fight. Give me a call." I took a deep breath and dialed. The game was about to change. Final update. It's over. Truly, finally over. The last few weeks have been a slow-motion detonation, and I'm just now emerging from the blast radius. The phone call with David was tense. I laid everything out calmly and factually. The breakup, The car, the subscriptions, the email to my boss, and finally the video of her trying my door. I offered to send him the proof. There was a long pause. Karen and I are coming down, he said, his voice strained. We need to understand what's going on. We'll be there tomorrow. The next day, they met me at my apartment. They looked worried and tired. Karen was holding back tears, and David looked grim. They were polite but reserved. I could tell they were torn, wanting to believe their daughter but confronted with my serious accusations. We just want the full picture, Karen said softly. Alara is our daughter. She's very upset and says you're misinterpreting everything. I understand, I said. Words can be misinterpreted. Videos are harder to argue with. I showed them the footage from my camera on my laptop. I watched their faces as they saw their daughter stealthily trying to use a key on my door late at night. Karen put a hand over her mouth. David's face hardened. I want to believe there's an explanation for this, David said, though his voice lacked conviction. Then let's ask her, I suggested. I pulled out my phone. Why don't you call her? Right now. Put it on speaker. David looked at me, then at his wife and nodded. He dialed Alara. Hi, Dad? Her voice came through the speaker, sounding cheerful. Too cheerful. Alara, David said, his voice flat. Your mother and I are at my name's apartment. The silence on her end was immediate. What? Why? He's shown us a video of you from last night, trying to get into his apartment with an old key. I need you to explain that to me right now. What? That's crazy. I was just checking on him. I was worried, she stammered, the panic evident in her voice. You were worried at 11 p.m. and used a key you shouldn't have, without calling or knocking? David pressed. He's twisting things. He's trying to make me look bad. He stole my car, she shrieked, her voice rising to a hysterical pitch. He's offering to pay us back the $5,000 we gave you for it, David said coldly. Which is something you failed to mention. Just like you failed to mention you were dumped, not just in a small fight. What is going on, Alara? Her story completely fell apart live on speakerphone. She started crying, accusing, deflecting. It was a complete train wreck. David finally cut her off. We will talk about this later. Do not move. He hung up the phone and looked at me, his face etched with a mixture of fury and deep embarrassment. I apologize, he said. They summoned Alara to the apartment. When she arrived 20 minutes later and saw them, her face went white. The final confrontation wasn't a shouting match. It was an autopsy. Her parents, armed with the facts and her own self-incriminating phone call, calmly took her apart. Her lies about staying with Chloe, about Leo being just a friend, about me being the villain, it all came out. The consequences were quiet and brutal. Her parents told her they were ashamed of her deceit. They demanded she pay them back the $5,000 herself and cut off all other financial support. She was told to arrange removal of her belongings within 48 hours without their help. She was on her own. Alara sat there, hollowed out, the fight completely gone from her. She had built her plan on a foundation of lies, and I had simply knocked out the cornerstone. A professional moving service, which I assume she paid for with a credit card, showed up the next day. She waited in the truck while they quickly and impersonally cleared out her things. The process of selling the car took about 2 weeks. I got a few lowball offers before an online dealership gave me a fair price. They picked it up from my building's parking lot yesterday. The moment the funds cleared, I transferred the $5,000 to David and Karen. David's reply was short. We are deeply sorry for all of this. We wish you the best. I've blocked Alara, Leo, and anyone connected to them. I have no idea what their situation is, and the most freeing feeling in the world is that I genuinely don't care. The quiet in my apartment is no longer strange. It's peace. It's the sound of a chapter of my life, one filled with drama I never asked for. Finally, mercifully, ending.